Hey guys, I'm actually sitting here in a hotel room in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have about 45 minutes to kill until we leave to do our walkaway rally today. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited about it. But I was thinking that maybe this is a good time for me to look back and revisit my original walkaway story. So this is a post that I made in the walkaway campaign group on Facebook. And I got to tell you, like, a lot of people have said to me over the course of this journey, they're like, Carlin, I can't come out of the closet right now, or I can't speak up. I'm just too nervous and I don't know what people will say. And I have to tell you, like, I understand exactly what that feels like. It was a process for me to come out. And this isn't my actual original post, and I didn't do a video because I was actually afraid of what would happen if I did a video, but I thought, oh, well, I can post a picture in my story. And I was even nervous to post the picture. I was like, what if someone I know sees that I posted this? Oh my God. I was really terrified. This was my first big step in kind of coming out of the closet of leaving the Democratic Party, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if someone would see it. I didn't know if I would get any backlash for it. And so I understand that position, and I think you're going to see in this post, oh my gosh, so much has changed since I originally wrote this. This was back in November of last year. So fun fact, I started my walkaway journey probably around June or July of last year in earnest. And it was around the end of October, beginning of November that I decided I wanted to leave the Democratic Party. Most people think that I hadn't decided that I wanted to leave the party until the Trump rally, and that's just not true. In fact, I had actually decided to leave before then. I had gone to my town hall to request to change my registration, and they told me, no, you can't change until after the New Hampshire primary. And then I promptly called them a bunch of fascists because they wouldn't let me change my own voter registration, and I kind of went back and sulked. But it was also one of those situations where it didn't really make much of a difference to me at the time if that they wouldn't allow me to change my registration, because when you're an independent in New Hampshire, when you go to vote in the primaries, you can choose to either vote in the Democrat or the Republican primary, and you just declare your preference on the way in the door, and then you redeclare that you're an independent on the way out. So functionally, it didn't make that much of a difference. I would have voted in the Democratic primary anyway. But I think that the state of New Hampshire telling me that I could not leave the Democratic Party until they said it was okay, that I think was the thing that pushed me to actually post my walkaway story. So let's take a look. I had my Make Speech Free Again hat on in this photo, and let's see what I said. And like I said, a lot of things have actually changed since I wrote this, and we'll go through and we'll talk about some of those things. So I wrote, I've been a Democrat for 20 years since I first registered to vote when I was 18. It truly never occurred to me that I would be anything else, but I finally got pushed to tell my walkaway story after spending all morning trying to convince a liberal friend to start being more reasonable and less crazy because I just can't anymore. Oh my God, I actually don't know what that was in reference to now. It's so funny how life changes sometimes where, all of a sudden things just feel like you've been living in a former lifetime. And I think that's kind of what this feels like to me. I have no idea what that story was in reference to. I just don't remember. My walkaway story really started back in 2014 when the Hobby Lobby case was decided, even before Trump was elected. And I have receipts on this too. I've actually gone back and looked at my old Facebook posts around that time. I have receipts on this. I was annoyed at them back then. My liberal friends went nuts through as though this was the end of the world, the end of women's rights. But I really researched this at the time because I was shopping a lot at Hobby Lobby at that time, and I wanted to make sure I understood what I was giving my money to. So I was shopping at Hobby Lobby a lot because I was making jewelry at that time, and I was actually selling. I always need to be making something. Like, I'm knitting now, but I was making jewelry then. I also go through phases where I paint, so I'm very into crafty things. I just like the process of making things with your hand, and Hobby Lobby actually has really good supplies for making jewelry, so I was shopping there quite a bit. Let's see. And in researching it, I found out that Hobby Lobby wasn't denying access to birth control at all. They actually had something like 16 options on their plan, but they had restricted 4 options because of the religious objections of the owners. I remember back to when I went on birth control when I was 18 at Planned Parenthood, and I was given 3 options. Why on earth were 16 options not enough to choose from, and why wasn't that being reported in the media at all? I'm not a Christian, but I was also annoyed that it wasn't being acknowledged at all that the family who owns the company, who are genuinely devout religious people, weren't getting any credit for the good things those values had brought to their employees, like being closed on Sundays so people could spend time with their family, or paying them more than average. It just made no sense to vilify these people who did not seem to be doing things, who seemed to be doing good things within their belief framework. And I stand by that, by the way. I think that the Hobby Lobby decision was a good decision. If you believe in freedom of religion, then you have to protect the freedom for everyone to practice their religion. It is a privately held family company. They are genuine in their beliefs. I get the impression that they treat their employees very, very well. And so I absolutely agree with the Hobby Lobby decision. People can disagree if they like, whatever. Fast forward a few years and Trump gets elected. I was genuinely upset about this, but I also thought that even if he is the worst possible president in the history of presidents, it will still be okay. The country is built to withstand an awful president. Then when he nominated Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court and all my friends lost it again, I didn't get it. I hated what the Republicans had done to Merrick Garland, but Neil Gorsuch never seemed like a villain to me. He seemed like a good man who was absolutely qualified, even if I didn't agree with him on things. In the ensuing years, I watched a lot of MSNBC and really existed in an echo chamber of people losing their minds over everything. Most of it I agreed with, some of which I didn't. I got myself to a place where I could find a lot of humor in Trump, but the people I surrounded myself with seemed to have lost their ability to laugh at anything. But the clincher for me was when everyone I was in my echo chamber with started to lose their minds with identity politics. I started seeing all these posts on my Facebook wall of people saying that if you were not a member of a marginalized group, your role is to shut up. The phrase shut up really bothers me on so many levels. No one should ever be told not to express themselves. I would question the value of telling people to shut up and was told to shut up in response by people who I was able to have a reasonable conversation with 1 or 2 years prior. They had become like pod people. Wow, I can't believe I wrote this then. Oh my God, I was like pretty dead on. My beliefs on this have not changed. It was like they had become like pod people. It was as if a man telling me to shut up. I would use their own strategy against them and say, wait a minute, I'm a woman, you're a man. I'm supposed to have less power than you and you're telling me to shut up? But of course, none of that matters unless you agree with them. At this point, I started thinking that I needed to get out of my echo chamber, and I challenged myself to start listening to conservative voices that I thought I would disagree with. And when I decided to do something, I don't do it half-assed. So I went right into the belly of the beast with Ben Shapiro. Now, fun fact here, Ben Shapiro was not actually the first one on my list. That was a mistake. And I went back and looked at I was posting on my Facebook all throughout this journey of different things I was listening to. The first thing I actually watched was a walkaway town hall. I believe it was the LGBT town hall in New York City. That was first thing I watched. Ben Shapiro was number 2. And Ben Shapiro was at the behest of my husband, who had been pestering me. He was like, Carlin, you need to go watch Ben Shapiro. You'd really like Ben Shapiro. And I was like, no, Victor, I'm not watching Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is Satan. So I really did resist that for a while. But eventually I did, and my husband was right. Whatever. Okay, Victor. All right. I don't half-ass things. I went right into the belly of the beast with Ben Shapiro. Now, even though I had never heard the man speak for more than a few sentences, I was convinced he was Satan. See? When I listened to him more long form, I discovered that he's not. In fact, I discovered that I loved listening to him because he's smart and really entertaining, and even though I don't agree with him on everything. And from there, I went down the rabbit hole and discovered all these people who are liberals are trying to silence. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I gotta reread that sentence. And from there I went down the rabbit hole and discovered all these people who liberals are trying to silence who are really reasonable people. Free speech is something that is very important to me, and it was my final straw because I didn't realize how much freedom of speech was under attack from those on my side of the aisle. I started being able to have conversations with people I disagreed with because I could see them as people for the first time in years, rather than this stereotype that had been ingrained in my head as the truth. I really felt like waking up, and I absolutely believe I became a better person for engaging in this. And honestly, guys, I absolutely believe that everyone who pushes themselves outside their comfort zone to listen to people who they believe they might disagree with, it is going to make you a better person. It is not about necessarily agreeing with everything they have to say. It is about the exercise of listening. So here's where it leaves me. I'm still a Democrat, but only because my state won't let me deregister from the party until after our February primary, which is kind of fascist, but whatever. It really doesn't matter functionally. See, I told you I was annoyed about that. At that point, I'm going to become an independent. I'm not a Trump supporter, though I think he's better than the prospect of a President Pence. Yeah, I really do. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. And will likely not be voting for him next year. I fancy myself sitting in the middle. I'm still very liberal in a lot of ways, but I cannot handle how insane the party has become with free speech, or how they paint everyone on the other side as inherently evil. I've got the hat I'm wearing in this photo as my own little way of trolling them because I just can't stand what they're doing. So there you have it, guys. In my original walkaway post, and again, if you don't believe this is real, you can go back. It's in the walkaway group on Facebook. Go join it. You can look it up. I flat out said I'm not voting for Trump, and Mike Pence actually scares me much more, which is true, by the way. I would take President Trump over President Pence any day of the week. I do not agree with Mike Pence on so many things. So I'm glad of the two of them that Trump is actually the president. But you know what's funny about this is, you get so many comments when you post your walkaway. So it's like 7.7 thousand likes, over 1,000 comments. Like, people in the walkaway group are so supportive and so awesome. I swear, I got so many comments from people saying, Carlin, you just don't know it yet, but you're going to end up voting for Trump. And I was like, no, that's never going to happen. I really did not ever think I was going to vote for Trump. But such as it is, man, 2020 is a wacky year. And I think the thing of it is, too, is that I actually feel really good about my vote for Trump right now. It's not even just, I think for a long time, I was voting more against the left than I was voting for Trump or for Biden or any of these things. I actually feel really good about my vote for Trump right now. Listen, he's not perfect, but I think he's doing a good job. I trust him to rebuild the economy. I think he's done as good a job as any president could do with coronavirus. I think that the governors are the ones effing up on coronavirus, like, to an epic degree. I feel good about it. So I have no regrets. I think that when you first start to red pill, as someone who has now, I think, gone decidedly through that process, it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to come around to things. You have to learn more. You have to grow more. And I've certainly done that. And, I'm so appreciative of the walkaway community. I love you guys so much. You are the best people in the world. It's why I spend my weekends doing these walkaway rallies anytime Brandon wants to have me at one. When I could be at home with my husband, I feel like I haven't seen my husband in years at this point. Even though I live with him, but I mean, I'm really only home now like a couple days a week because I'm doing this stuff too. But I just love you guys. And I think that the walkaway community for me has been such a godsend. Brandon was on Tim Pool's podcast yesterday. I watched the whole thing. It's a great show. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it because it's an awesome show. And he was talking about when he started to wake up and when he started to red pill, he didn't have a community of people that were like a support mechanism. He thought he was going crazy. I definitely thought I was going crazy too until I found Walkaway. And if you are somewhere on this journey too, and you haven't found the Walkaway campaign Facebook group yet, I strongly encourage you to go join, come to our rallies, come to our events. You're going to find so many people that think the way you do, that they're just wonderful, loving, caring people. It's the best energy in the world. And I'm so thankful to be a part of it. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy what I'm doing on this channel, please consider subscribing, turning on those notifications, giving it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And that's all I got for this one. I'll see you soon.